Can I ask a question about the definition of integrity, Michael?
Sure.
So, um, I have come to understand integrity, at least for right now, as being in alignment, like basically like your actions match your words kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am in alignment with my values or my authentic self, if you
Mm-hmm.
want to look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think this is a hard one for me because I do believe that our culture, our sociopathic capitalistic culture,
Mm-hmm.
um, does require us to compromise our integrity, at least to some degree.
Yeah.
So I just want to acknowledge that, like, while our hearts might be in the right place and we want to live in integrity, like, people who are like in support of Palestine, but like still going to Starbucks because it's the only coffee shop close by. It's like, are they living in integrity? Are they compromising their values? Like, maybe I think that um, what is the OUS for integrity?
Mm-hmm.
Integritus?
Mm-hmm.
um, to a fault, like to the point where I kind of like fuck up my life because I'm like so committed to my values that I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna like, make choices that other people think are stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, thank you. Amy.
Okay, so how I answered the question
Mm-hmm.
was putting myself in integrity,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what I believe is integrity,
Mm-hmm.
my actions.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have done things not maybe not intentionally, but if that um I can't say that, you know, of course I want to be a thumbs up because that's the whole point of being. But but right now I
Mm-hmm.
guess I have to look at myself again
Mm-hmm.
because of what the situation happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't feel that I should at this moment.
Mm-hmm. And that's honest. So even though you feel at the moment you're at a maybe on that, if honesty was here or authenticity is on there, I would give you a 3 on that, Amy. But it's not about someone else judging you. It's about you observing yourself. Yeah, thank you. All right, intuition. Intuition. 6, 9, 12, 13. Ray, intuition.
Sorry, my motor control is feeling very
Yeah,
cold.
no problem. So I wanted to speak to this one because my biggest blind spot is that I always think the best of people. So my intuition, what I think of intuition is always always thinking always thinking it's always going to turn out well all the time. And whenever there is dissent or whenever something happens, when people bump up against the friction, um, my I don't trust my intuition because I always I always see I mean, I guess that's why I gave myself a high marks for unconditional love. But my intuition, I think it's off. But I think I'm getting better at it. The reason why I think there's been some friction between some of the members of this group is because, like, for instance, Lori, she's identified as a curator type of personality. And Amy, I think there was friction with you because you are literally in a situation where you have to settle. You're settling in a new land. You're building something. So my intuition is telling me the reason why there was friction there is because you're on two opposite ends of the flow. And it's just when those two opposite ends are in tune, the sound is very much in tune, but when it's not in tune, it's there's the biggest possibility for friction. So
No, my ignorance.
what's
Let's be
that?
honest. The friction was my ignorance.
Well, well,
I'm
but
taking accountability. Call it what it is.
mhm.
Um,
But you took accountability. You are taking accountability for it. And Kylea, with you and Nini, Nini has described to me in other conversations that she wants to get things done. She wants to get moving. She's what I would call pioneer energy. And what you have shared with me as well, you need to protect right now. That's what we call a steward. That you need to be in protection mode right now. That's what I'm intuiting is why there was friction there. But I don't trust that intuition, but it's just something that I'm questioning that if my perceptions are there. Yeah, go ahead, Beth.
I think I'd like to change my vote to a like this
Okay.
because I am, and maybe I should change my awareness vote too. I don't know. I was not aware that there was any sort of friction between anybody in this group.
Hmm.
So, you know, and I just want to tell a quick story.
Hmm.
I had a woman call me at home, or well, not at home. I was home, but I was on my cell phone. There's no such thing as a home phone number anymore for me.
Hmm.
Anyway, she calls me and tells me that she needs money for her hotel room, and she basically gives me a big sob story. I'm not gonna lie, she almost had me. I I don't give money to people. That's my policy, especially because my church, a lot of churches don't have it,
Right.
right? But she basically gave up a sob story, and she said she only needed $100. So it's like so I was like, I wasn't quite sure what to do. So I told her I would call my consistory president and I would get back to her. And they were like, we went through the story and the details didn't add up for them.
Hmm.
And they helped me to see things a little more clearly.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, folks who call churches are looking to just get money out of people. And if you let them have it, they will bleed you dry.
Hmm.
And my church can't afford that.
Right.
And like the one hint that I didn't really realize was a red flag was I said to her, "Did you call 211?" Which is a number people can call when they need particular resources, housing, food, etc. And she goes, "Yeah, they told me to call the churches."
Mm.
So I called 211 and I asked them, "Is this," and I didn't believe her, but I thought, "Is this something you do? Do you tell people to call just random churches?" And they're like, "No, we don't do that."
Mm.
So I did not give her any money.
Hmm.
Uh, but this says to me, my intuition could be better.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know about you. I think I'm rather gullible.
Hmm.
And maybe I also like to think the best of people. Um, but yeah, so I'm changing my intuition vote to a two. Is that a two?
Noted. Noted. Yep. Great.
Okay.
Kylea.
Go. Kylie.
I'm just gonna touch on two things briefly. One, in relation to the situation with Nini.
Hmm.
Um, I would definitely agree that I am much more in a steward energy. I think a lot of times that's pretty much always where I am most of the
Hmm.
time. Like there will be an energy of like the pioneering, getting stuff done, but it's usually always carried by the steward energy. I don't think there's often that I step out of that. That's just kind of naturally who I am and kind of the frequency I operate in.
Hmm.
And I just think that that frequency with the level of pioneer energy that Nini was in, it
Hmm.
just I don't think there was us finding a middle ground at
Yeah.
that time. And so yeah, I would definitely agree that at the core that's what happened.
Hmm.
And then to touch in two different spaces, one with Beth, which is I wouldn't necessarily say that you not knowing that there was friction between members of this group would indicate like anything towards your intuition, simply because one, For at least on my end, the friction between Nini and I was something that I worked intentionally hard to keep out of the group in hopes that Nini would be able to continue like participating in the group and there would be no uncomfortability with like people feeling any kind of like tension or,
Mhm.
malcontent. And again, I think even with the situation kind of a little bit with Amy and Lori, again, it didn't happen in the group. It was something that was like very much separated from the group and it was like a separate relationship from the group. So there wasn't really an indication in the interactions and energy of the group
Right.
that would have even given a hint to there being any kind of friction. Because again, I think in all of this, there was always this sort of level of intentionality of keeping that thing separate from what we're trying to do as a
Mm-hmm.
group.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
then lastly,
Yep.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead,
that's
Kylie.
no,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was gonna say, and lastly, speaking to Amy directly, darling, I love you. And I think that you do walk with integrity because a big piece of integrity is owning what you've done wrong and owning where you've made your mistakes and owning where you have could do better. And I think that is probably the hardest piece of integrity for people to do. It's really, really easy to do all the other stuff, but the actual like ownership of like, I messed up, I harmed someone, it's not okay. And the way that you handled that situation, that is integrity to me. Because you didn't have to reach out to me and you did. Because you valued us so much and you had so much respect for me, you let me know what was going on so that I could make a decision if I wanted to stick around because you felt so bad about the harm you caused. That's integrity. Most people wouldn't do that. You didn't have to do that, but you did. And I know how hard this is for you because we talked about this, but I need you to hold that and I need you to hear me because you are walking with integrity because it takes so, so, so much integrity to do what you did.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Kylie, I want to say thank you too. I appreciate that. I think the way Mike talked about and nothing personal here, Mike, it sort of sounded like it was a given and everybody else knew.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt about it. I was like, what is he talking about? Tension. Because yeah, I didn't sense that.
Mm-hmm.
Just here in our group, so I had no idea. So anyway, that's why I sort of thought, geez, maybe my intuition is off.
Yeah.
I think it probably still is a little.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna
Yeah,
give
thank you. And that was where my struggle was because I do want to be open about this. And Nini's going to be watching this, and I'm going to invite Lori one more time to watch this as well too. But I don't want to sweep this under the rug. I want to be open about it. So yeah, go ahead, Amy.
So, Beth, let me tell you, um, I'll take full responsibility for what I did, but I hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. I hurt Lori by saying a word that's normally used in my society. As I was growing up, I said, um, Jason's uncle Jewed me, and not realizing that that was against her culture and knowing that it was inappropriate. Um, and it would have been one thing. I own that I was shocked that was even tied to Jewish. I didn't even, it didn't even click to me that it was even referring to her culture. That's how ignorant my ignorance was. I tried to apologize and I tried to explain that I didn't even know that it was even to it. Otherwise, it would never have happened because I value people so much and I hate hurting any. It hurts me to hurt somebody else. And I'm about the hardest person. I am so hard on me when that happens. So I thought I was handling this very well, but I guess obviously I'm not.
This is handling it excellently, Amy. You're being honest. You're being authentic. Let yourself feel this. Let yourself feel this.
very,
Mhm,
I'm very disappointed in myself
mhm,
as a human being
mhm.
right at the moment
Yeah.
because I have always given unconditional love, um, and to harm somebody in that way is never okay.
Mhm,
And I own it. I It doesn't matter how I did it. If it wasn't intentional, it did happen. I take full responsibility for it. I actually tried to leave the group for Lori, um, because I'm the one that did harm. I should not. But Mike left it up to Lori, and Lori chose to step away from it. So, um, and I went to everybody that I had started having relationships with and I knew had issues, with other people in the members, and I have to own what I did, and that's what I did. Um, Certain people I couldn't get a hold of, so and I own it, and that's the reason why. What happened, I own my mistake, and I'm really, really never intend. I mean, not intentionally, not out of malice, not at anything. Um, I am culture impaired, obviously. So, and the sad thing is, I love Jewish. I wanted to be that. So that's what I didn't even understand. I didn't even put the word together. But that was a negative aspect. But I guess anything you say in a negative term probably shouldn't be saying it in the first place. And that's my learning lesson taking out of this is I'm just, no longer going to talk about my past negatives the way I used to. And using the old language, I'll start using, I don't know, maybe I just won't talk about it. But I'm thinking I'm learning that hard lesson even outside.
mhm.
And we had a really like daily relationship. So it hurt me more than probably hurt her. You know, that's okay.
Well, any support you need, Amy, to forgive yourself,
No,
please.
I'm thinking I'm gonna have to work on that. I don't won't take anybody else's, and no offense to anybody, but this is the way I learn. And I appreciate the support that you're trying to do. And I did hear you, and I appreciate it. But that's just me, and just like everybody else, I think we're all harder on ourselves than anyone,
Yeah.
I'm included.
Well, Amy, I want to thank you for explaining what happened. I can see it's very painful for you, and I'm sorry that that happened.
Me too.
But I know you want to, process this on your own. But I will reiterate the offer. I'm not a pastor for nothing. If you want to talk and you need someone to listen, I'm good at it. So
Thank you.
please feel free.
I didn't tell you for support though, because I want to make darn sure. Please reach out to Lori, okay? Because Lori's the one that I hurt, and I I did cause the pain. So I appreciate the offer and the support, but um, I don't feel that I'm the one that needs it.
Mm.
Does that make sense? I think Lori needs it more than I do. I really don't feel like I deserve it.
Mm.
I did do
Yeah.
it on, you know.
I hear you, but I'm gonna slightly disagree. I think you both need support.
Yeah. Can I intervene in a moment? We're starting to get into judgment now a little bit, judgment of what another person needs or whatnot. So let's pause for a moment. Uh, yeah. So Amy, we just want to let you know that there's nothing, no, nothing that needs to be committed to or anything like that. Okay. If it feels right, reach out to one of us. Reach out to us. All right.
I did already. And I appreciate her. Thank you.
All right. Unconditional love. Unconditional love.
I thought I had that.
Mhm. Yeah. Shell and Kylia. Okay. Unconditional love. Michelle, are you there we go. Excellent. Okay. Anyone want to speak to that? Unconditional love?
Yes, actually, I do.
Go for it, Kylie.
Um, unconditional love is something that I have had a battle with in my life. It's been a really hard one for me because I will openly admit, as a person, especially in my earlier years, I was very much an us versus them. So
Mhm.
you cross me, you cross the people I care about, watch out. And I could be. But I'm gonna tug on Ray and I'm gonna say that I learned what unconditional love was and how to give it to other people and how to have it for other people because of Ray. Because Ray is one of the few people in my life I have encountered that no matter what anyone has done, they have always found some way to find value, to find curiosity, to find compassion for that person. Even in their like angriest, most hurt moments, they still will find a way, or they still will try to handle the situation in the most like fair, integral, like. And it used to drive me absolutely mental because I'm like, bruh, no, we're not, no, no. But they did it. And so for me, from what I've watched and learned, unconditional love is loving someone regardless of what they do or how they treat you or regardless of what you get from them, and loving them also enough though to set boundaries in space when you need to keep yourself healthy and them healthy as well.
Yes.
That is what unconditional love means to me.
Beautiful.
Yep. We're doing good. We've got 3 left and 15 minutes. I think we're gonna do this. Non-judgment. Non-judgment. 2, 4, 6, 8, 14, 17. Okay, anyone want to speak to that? I'll be honest. There has been a lot of judgment that's going on internally. Like there
Yeah.
were some things that have happened where my judgment filter went off, and the reason why I'm giving myself a high 2 on that is because I've had to rein that in quite a bit, and practice unconditional love. But I'll admit it. I've you know there's still judgments going up here that I'm still trying to give down here to let go of.
I just want to add that I think um, when I think of non-judgment, I always think of Buddhism.
Mhm.
Like I almost can't separate them in my mind, um, because that's kind of how I learned
Mhm.
to put a name to that. And I think before I knew about non-judgment, I just thought it was unconditional love.
Mhm.
Because to me, like that's kind of how you love somebody unconditionally is by withholding that they're like interconnected, if you know what I mean. Can you
Say that again.
hear
You
me?
broke up a little bit there, Ray.
Sorry, I'm like in the window because my signal is pretty bad out here. Can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Okay. Um, I was just saying that I don't know where you lost me, but just that non-judgment and unconditional love are related because the way to love someone unconditionally is by withholding judgment of them, essentially.
Mhm.
But yeah, I have to also add because Kylie mentioned me, um, that I have had a lot to learn about boundaries. You know, like
Yeah.
because loving people allow to treat you however they want to treat you and do whatever they want. So I've learned that with Kylia. I think Kylia has helped me a lot with that. So
Mm.
Me too.
Well, good for both of you and for all of you. All right. Practicing nonviolent communication. Practicing nonviolent communication. And some of you, this might be the first time you've heard that term. So I'm gonna 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 19. Okay. Would anyone like to speak to that one first? Yeah, go ahead,
Okay,
Amy.
I just want to make sure I'm right,
Mhm.
only because I answered it like thumbs up. But
Mhm.
that's like nonviolent, which means that in a respectful way, speaking with communication, right? And I respect, or I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't be the one that said, but I thought I. It's like you're not coming to blows with anybody, right? It's like
No,
it's
there's specific techniques around it. Kylia, you have your hand up. Go
you're on
ahead,
mute.
Kylia. All right. While she's while they are there you
Oops,
go.
sorry, I was muted. Sorry. I was gonna say I am probably a poster child for MVC, courtesy of Ray.
Great.
Um, so MVC is basically this idea that like you're walking into a conversation with someone, and what you're focusing on when you're in that conversation is the facts of what actually happened in the situation and the act like feelings, not like assumptions. So like you were trying to disrespect me because that's a judgment. We don't
Mhm.
actually know that this person was trying to disrespect you. The feeling was I felt alienated. I felt isolated when this
Mhm.
happened. And you're stating the facts of the situation. So the fact of the situation would be I had a conversation with Nini and
Fact. Yeah.
I I had a conversation with Nini and this statement was made.
Mhm.
And you would state clearly what the exact but like the exact statement, not like your interpretation of the statement, what they actually said.
Right.
And then you would say I felt isolated by that statement.
Mhm.
And like that's kind of how it would go. And so what it does then is you kind of state the facts of what happened, how it made you feel, and then you follow it up with um these are solutions that I came up with on how to deal with XYZ. So like an example of Ray and I, we had this thing when we were living in community together, which is Ray would be like, okay, we're gonna leave at 12. Then 12 o'clock would come around and Ray wouldn't be ready. And I would be very upset because
Mhm.
that was a thing for me. It was like, well, I had so much stuff I could have done if I had known you weren't going to be ready for 12. So we had a conversation about the facts, how it made me feel, and then our solution was you tell me you're going to be ready around 12. We're going to leave around 12. Because if I don't have a specific time, I can do what I want to do, but I also feel free if you're ready to be like, hey, can you wait a few minutes? I need to finish what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of like basically the core tenets of NVC. It's about not making judgments
Mhm.
and just stating facts and stating feelings and finding solutions.
Right. Yeah, and to piggyback on top of that, Kylia, I've done clearings. We call them clearings. I've done a little bit of that at Circle of Miracles and also in some of my other groups where the intention first is to state the facts and then call awareness to the judgment or the story with the express intention that what you're saying or what you're judging is not about the other person. It's what's going on inside, and then the feelings. And we try to keep the feelings basic: mad, sad, glad, fear, or shame, so that that feeling has a chance to express itself. So yeah, yeah. So there's a technique to that, and there has to be a willingness. If some are not willing to be guided, it can be very difficult and very challenging. Go ahead, Amy.
Then I'm going to change it because I had no clue that that's what it meant
Okay.
to a two. I
Okay.
mean, working on it because I had no clue.
Yeah.
I thought it was just fighting. I'm not in for fighting, so that's the reason why I did that.
Yeah, no problem. That's why we have these conversations to clarify what it is. And by the way, what we're doing here today, also, even though it's the invitation conversation, we're really kind of now starting to do steward work, to really, holding space, not being in a rush, to push an idea or anything like that, but to really get underneath the surface of the feelings of it, and to call our own judgments into awareness. So I just wanted to make that note there. All right, last one: safety. Safety. Creating safe spaces easy for you? Still something you work on, or hard to work on? Okay, Ray, where are you at with safety? Okay. Okay. All right. Anyone want to speak to safety? We haven't heard from you in a while, Michelle. Did you want to say anything to safety? You're on mute.
Thank you. I guess it depends on whose safety are you talking about? Are you talking about creating safety for others,
Mhm.
or being able to move yourself
Mhm.
into a feeling of more safety?
Mhm.
In my experience, I have found that being responsible for other people feeling safe is not at all times achievable
Nope.
without understanding their traumas
Mhm.
and their life stories.
Mhm.
So there's inadvertently, if you're in the process of kind of being your authentic self,
Mhm.
being successful at providing someone else's safety, has not always been very successful on my part. I'm playing with my microphone in case you're wondering what I'm doing. It keeps wanting to
Yeah,
fall
no
over. I don't
problem.
want it to fall over. Um, Also, if you're talking about creating a safer sense of self, I think that's also a personal journey for everyone, because they have to kind of work through their own generational traumas and the traumas they picked up in this life. And there's a lot of things that can make people feel unsafe. So I feel like for a lot of us, the journey of moving into feeling more safe internally can be a
Mhm.
lifelong journey.
Yeah.
And the ability to always be able to create safe spaces for others, again, without knowing what makes everybody feel unsafe in a group setting or in a community, it's difficult to achieve.
Yeah.
Because inadvertently you could step on landmines you didn't know were there,
Mhm.
or sets
Mhm.
off a whole host of triggers.
Yeah.
Which, and then it just goes on from there. So when you say safety, my first thing I thought about was like, whose safety?
Yeah.
Is that me being responsible for other people's safety, emotional
Mhm.
safety, or is that me, working through my own stuff,
Yeah.
trying to feel more safe in the world? So I find that those two things are kind of two different conversations on safety.
Yeah, it very much can, and it can come.
Yeah.
That can also be another value that comes out of it too. Go ahead, Amy.
I'm going to just say I answered it for my own safety,
Mhm.
due to the fact I can't. Again, I'm self-aware enough to know that I cannot control anybody on outside of me, but I can only control me. And I think I'm pretty good about keeping me safe. So that's how I answered it. Just because, again, you're absolutely right, Michelle,
Yep.
hitting it on the nail that you cannot control anything, and it's not really your responsibility to control somebody else's reactions to something. I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned through this process of this week. It's not, uh, is that I cannot control somebody else's reaction. I can only be the observer of my own actions. And I think that's the biggest takeout of everything. And keeping me safe is how I answered that question. I feel like I do a very good job of keeping me safe. It's not necessarily my intentions are bad toward somebody else, right? You never intend to try to harm somebody, but if they choose for it or if they're looking for it, they're going to find it no matter what. And you cannot control, predict, or or help at that point.
Mhm.
So that's how I answered it, because you're absolutely right. You can't, I agree with you. If you're talking about safety of others, I'd be like a medium. I'm working on it because that's my whole intent. But that doesn't mean that I'm very successful at it, because it's out of my realm of specialty. My specialty is this form right here and what I can control in this form. And sometimes not even that. So there are some things I cannot control either on that, but I do my best. I think
Thank
that's
you. And we are bumping up against the time, so let's do a quick response from Michelle, a quick response from Beth, and then we'll wrap up.
So I was answering, I wanted you to know that my answer was also answering on behalf of my own, creating more
okay.
safety for myself.
Mhm. Okay.
I'm going to say same here. If I could read something really quick, we're doing a class on forgiveness at my church, and we start off with an invitation to brave space. I'm going to read this real quick and then we'll finish. It's not long. Together we will create brave space, because there is no such thing as a safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars and we have all caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together, and we will work on it side by side. And that's by Nikki Scott Bay Jones, if anyone wants to look it up.
Thank you. Well,
Beth,
great.
I don't know if you're on Facebook, but would you mind putting it in the chat? Like not in this chat, but in the Facebook group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Well, that is a great note to end on. But I do want to do a quick checkout, because this was we've been through a journey in these last 2 hours, quite a journey. And I'm going to take all this data, and I'll share next time, and I'll be sending emails out as well about where we go from here, what this means, how we're going to provide structure to our conversations. But before you check out, let's just do a one-word checkout. Just about how you're doing, how you're feeling, as you're exiting out of here. The value that's most alive for me at the moment is unconditional love, and that's my checkout. I'll pass it to Ray.
Are we choosing a value or a feeling?
Anything you want, just a one-word checkout.
Okay, I feel grateful.
Great. Go ahead, pass it.
Oh, Amy.
Humbled. Kali. Did I say
Kelly?
it wrong?
Elia?
Kelly, yes. I'm sorry. I did it wrong again.
You're fine, love. I would say I'm leaving grateful.
Okay, let's pass it to Beth.
I'm exhaling.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
Becky,
Thoughtful.
Michelle, you're on mute. Muted. Still on mute. There we go.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I said I'm feeling grateful.
Great. All right. A lot of gratefuls.